Marcus, you're a father, and you are a representative of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is the party of child abuse. It's the party that represents grooming children and sexualizing them in school, teaching anti-white racism in the terms of CRT education.
Dude, at this point, it's just like, hello, my name is Dylan. You're running against me. Why are you Hitler? Why do you want all the Jews to die? 30-minute debate. Very short. But she acts like a complete victim the whole time. Let's watch. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is gonna win, probably. The person running against her it's like a long shot campaign. So it's only a 30-minute debate. So the other guy's gonna do everything he can to make an impact. All she really has to do is coast here and just seem normal. Because the problem is that she always, like, the biggest criticism she always gets is that she's insane. So all she has to do is seem somewhat normal, and then it'll be a perfect success for her and she'll win.
Greer, anchor with WSB-TV in Atlanta. Welcome to the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young Debate Series from the studios of Georgia Public Broadcasting. This is the general election debate among candidates for Congressional District 14. Now, 14 is located in northwest corner of the state. It includes Paulding County, parts of Cobb, and extends up to Dade and Catoosa counties. Let's meet the candidates for this debate. They are in alphabetical order. Marcus Flowers, a Democrat, is a veteran and has worked for the State Department and Department of Defense. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, is the incumbent Congresswoman from District 14. Now let's meet our panelists. John Druckenmiller is the publisher for Hometown Headlines, now part of the Times Journal Inc. media group based in Rome, Georgia. And Josh Rowe is an anchor with WTVC in Chattanooga. For complete rules on today's debate...
Wait, who was that guy? 1 second.
An anchor with WTVC in Chattanooga.
That's a weird crush. Anyway, let's keep going.
For complete rules on today's debate, please visit the Atlanta Press Club website, atlantapressclub.org/debates. To start the debate, each candidate will be asked...
Okay, question. Will Marjorie Taylor Greene accuse the left of being pedophiles during this debate? It's only 30 minutes. Can she call the left pedophiles or groomers by the end of it? I think she'll do it at least once.
One question by each panelist. Candidates have 60 seconds to answer each question. John Druckenmiller, you get the first question to Marcus Flowers.
Thank you, Karen. First off, candidates, thank both of you for running. We know what a time to demand this is and what it means to your lives, so thank you for doing this. First question, I believe, goes to Mr. Flowers. Mr. Flowers, nearly 20 Republicans and 20 Democrats have run against Ms. Greene in the last 2 elections, 20 candidates total. Each one has had a strategy that has been, I am not MTG. In your race, in the last week alone, 37 emails have come to our Rome News Tribune server from your candidate, from your account, saying the same thing, I'm not MTG. What is your platform?
Well, thank you for that question, John. First and foremost,
can I just say, the debate moderators for most of the Senate debates have been very good, and they're very pointed questions. I've just been very happy with the quality of our Senate debates and congressional debates that we've watched in the stream so far. Pretty cool that we have this type of public dialogue and governance, even if it's with psychopaths like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I am running as Marcus Flowers, not Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, I got into this campaign because of the events of January 6th and Congresswoman Greene's participation in that. You know, this is about so much more than just having a representative who doesn't represent our district, but it's about our democracy. And not running as MTG has never been my platform. Yes, people see that we have an outsized social media account, but that's not the secret sauce of this campaign. We've knocked over 70,000 doors in our district, had those real conversations with the people of Northwest Georgia, our local leaders, our mayors, our commissioners, our city council members.
Can I just say this is a weak answer? He should be giving policy positions, in my opinion. But maybe I'm a dummy, okay? Maybe I'm a dummy. That's what it would appeal to me, because the question was, what is your platform? And he's like, I ran because of January 6th. We've knocked doors. Yes, we've got a big Twitter following, but... And it's like, Like, if it sounds like he's not, it sounds like he's kind of dancing around the question a bit.
And yes, our law enforcement officials, and every one of them that I've talked to, almost to a person, has said Marjorie Taylor Greene is not who they want representing them. So yes, this campaign is about Marcus Flowers, not MTG. Thank you.
What's with the double negative? I don't understand. I don't understand the double negative. What is not Marjorie Taylor Greene? What is he? I don't understand the double negative. I'm just okay. Whatever. Oh, not MTG. Okay, I get it. It's just okay. Got you.
It's your turn.
I need a rebuttal to that. You cannot accuse me of insurrection. I was a victim of the January 6th riot just as much as any other member of Congress. That was the third day I had on the job.
Can I just say, he gave a very weak answer, and she is making his answer seem stronger by the ridiculousness of her saying what she just said. See, the question was, your campaign just seems to be, I'm not MTG. Isn't that a problem? And he basically says, kinda, but, you know, I gotta, he kind of like wavered on it a little bit, to be completely honest. But because she just jumps on it immediately and says, I'm the victim of January 6th. You know, I might have pushed election denial and I might downplay what happened there, but I'm the actual victim, you know? The ridiculousness of that answer completely overshadows the fact that there is a legitimate question to be asked about, are you just running to say I'm not her? Like, she just immediately like washed away all of those doubts immediately. Why would she do that? God, man. Did you see Fetterman versus Oz? It was really bad. I did. I mean, I kind of knew it was going to happen like that. Trans Femcel. Thank you for the tier 4, by the way. That's a massive support to the channel, unironically. That's like the highest level you can go. I knew it was probably going to be bad because of the stroke, but it was pretty bad. I don't think he was wrong substantively on the issues, but, you know, he had a stroke. He's not a great public speaker. I think he'll be a fine legislator. I think he'll be good in government. I think he has the correct positions. But, like, he's not a great public speaker. He just had a stroke. It's not that surprising.
I had nothing to do with what happened there that day, and I will not have you accuse me of that. That is wrong of you to do. You're lying about me, and you will not defame my character in that manner.
Did Joe Biden win the election, Congresswoman Greene?
Joe Biden is the president of the United States.
Absolutely, but you pushed a big lie that said he did not win the election.
There was election fraud.
You drove those people to the Capitol on January 6th with your lie.
God.
We're going to move on. Josh Rowe, it's your turn.
He's so happy. He's so happy. He got so lucky. He got so lucky. She just couldn't contain herself for like a minute. She could have just said in response, like, all of his emails he sends out, it's about me. It's about me. I'm happy I'm helping him run his campaign and to get him some money, you know? But what about the issues you stand for, Marcus? I'm right here. And I know you don't want me to be in office, but you never talk about what you want. You just, everything you say is, I'm just not Marjorie Taylor Greene. She could have looked great. But instead, she gets full of herself, starts saying, I'm the victim of January 6th, says a ridiculous position. Marcus has to say, like, literally one thing to make her look bad, which is, you denied that Joe Biden was president, and you, in your rhetoric and extremism, pushed him to the Capitol. And then he's done. Now he's happy, he's smiling. Somehow, he gets away from a question asking, hey, why are you running? Are you running as, I'm just not Marjorie Taylor Greene? And somehow, the topic gets made about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he doesn't lose. And that's not because he did well here. Honestly, he got lucky. It's just how out there Marjorie Taylor Greene is that she can just say this nonsense out of nowhere and completely just deliver him the victory here. Why? I don't know why she did that.
And my husband has proof
Marjorie
of it.
Taylor Greene.
We have FOIA evidence of proof of election fraud that came out.
Excuse me. We're ready to move on to the next question for you.
Okay, but he's not going to accuse me of a crime.
Would you like your question?
Would
you like your question?
Yes, ma'am, I would. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Liar, by the way.
There's a...
I'm sorry. She is so full of herself. Oh my God! Can we watch that again? I'm sorry.
Okay,
Question
but
for
he's
you.
not going to accuse me of a crime.
Would you
when
like
I
your
have not
question?
committed
Would you
one.
like your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
would. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Liar, by the way.
There's a crisis in your district tonight. I'm going to lay this out as quickly as I can here. The future of the DACA program is in jeopardy in the courts. You have a bill that would eliminate DACA. You said this on Twitter 10 days ago. A plan must be developed, and that's an accurate statement, right? I talked to one of the state reps there in Dalton this week, Republican. He tells me that if DACA goes away, 10% of the labor force in Dalton also would go away. A huge part of the economic engine in your district, right? You got people who live in every county in your district who work in Dalton, get a paycheck there, take that money back to those other counties, buy homes, pay taxes, goods and services. So, and I also asked, what happens if DACA goes away? What happens in Dalton? He said, devastated, devastated. So tonight, be clear with your district. What actually happens if DACA goes away, and then what is your plan?
Well, Josh, first and foremost, I swore an oath to the Constitution, and I represent the citizens of the United States of America, not DACA recipients. And I also represent our district that believes in strong borders. We've had over 5 million people illegally invade the United States of America since Joe Biden began.
None of this was the answer. None of this was the question. What will happen to your district? She just said it will economically carve out a part of your district. So what will be the effect if DACA goes away, and what will you do? And immediately it's, well, I don't represent those people, and Joe Biden. Immediately Joe Biden. Again, she would love to run against Joe Biden, but she's not. She's running against Marcus Flowers, which somehow I don't think she would do much better against Joe Biden either.
Became president. Fentanyl is now the #1 cause of death in young people from 18 to 45, and they are using Narcan every single day in Northwest Georgia, which, by the way, is...
Okay, to be clear, deporting more undocumented immigrants is not going to get rid of the fentanyl. That I don't know where this is coming from. Undocumented immigrants, on average, commit lower levels of crime than even naturalized citizens. And if your district is made more economically desperate through the carving out of a large labor population, that's actually where drugs perform the best, in areas that are decaying. Like, that's why the Rust Belt has been hit so hard by the opioid crisis.
Is not next to the border of Mexico. Because of this border crisis, it has caused a human security crisis like we've never seen before. Joe Biden and his administration is the greatest business partner to the Mexican cartels that we have ever seen in United States history. The only thing that I'm going to do to represent Northwest Georgia and Georgia's 14th district and the workers and the businesses there is to legislate and vote so that they have a strong economy, they have job opportunity.
He just described how this is going to hurt the economy. Or again, the question was, what happens if DACA goes away to all these people who are going to be removed from the labor pool? What does this mean to local people in your district who are going to be hurt economically? And what's your plan? And she just said, Joe Biden, wave of human invasion, Mexican cartel, fentanyl. Is like, none of this is related to the question he asked you.
That will not be stolen by people that are illegally invading our country to steal their jobs. I know the representative you're talking about is probably Casey Carpenter, who seems to be more interested in representing illegal aliens than the legal citizens of Northwest Georgia.
Thank you. Your time is up. John, your question for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
All right, Ms. Greene, since taking office on January 3rd, 2021, what is the one specific accomplishment solely on behalf of the 14th Congressional District that is most important to you?
Well, I tell you what, it's been hard to pass any bills in a Democrat-controlled, Nancy Pelosi-controlled House of Representatives, a Senate that is controlled by one vote with Kamala Harris as the Democrat vice president, and a White House that is controlled by Democrats.
They still have a filibuster in the Senate, just to be clear.
Democrats, Joe Biden. Now, what we've done to accomplish things for Northwest Georgia is I'm proud to be able to bring in money via grants to help our local sheriff's department and help local businesses there. We've also worked very hard with the flooding that happened over in Somerville. And so we've worked hand in hand with officials there and look forward to helping them more as damages and amounts of money come out. So I'm very excited to vote and to introduce bills that uphold the conservative traditional values of the people in my district, and I'll continue to do that.
Why would she want to get rid of the child tax credit if she wants to promote family values? Wouldn't that make it easier for people to raise families in the United States? Like, there's like legislation like that she could have worked with Democrats on, but instead, like the rest of the Republican Party, she just sabotaged it, even though she could have sold it as a pro-family values platform. But it's not really about protecting families. It's about... Never mind. I don't want to get too into it, but you get the idea.
All right, Josh, you get the final question. Did you have a rebuttal?
Yeah, I didn't hear an answer there. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Greene said she's passed all these bills and brought money into our district. Well, you haven't. You know,
No, I voted no to
grants-
Joe
grants
Biden's
that come
radical
into our
Democrat
district
bills, Marcus.
don't necessarily
See, you don't
come
understand how
from
Congress works.
Congresswoman
Nancy
Greene.
Pelosi
Hold on.
People
hold
write
on,
grants.
hold on,
She
hold on.
doesn't know how to... She was quiet. He was quiet while you talk. You're quiet while he talks. That's how discussion happens. That's human communications, Mrs. Greene.
To get government money. That is competitive.
No, you're
If we had a
defund the police.
congresswoman who was
I
walking those
support the
grants
police.
through, perhaps, but Congresswoman Greene, she can't take credit for good things that happen while our people suffer.
Marcus, we're going to give you your last question.
She can't cheat. What the fuck? You gotta give Marcus time to repeat his answer. I didn't hear anything he said because her fucking banshee screaming was impossible to get rid of so I could listen to his fucking question or the answer. I don't even know what just happened. She was just screaming over it the whole time. I don't even know what the question was.
And Josh, you get the final question
you're
for
the
Marcus
defund the
Flowers.
police party, Marcus.
Mr. Flowers,
I don't understand how it
you said it
works.
here tonight that
She's
the voters
literally,
in North
dude.
Georgia.
People need to. I'm sorry, moderators need to just learn how to cut people's mics. Like, once somebody talks too much, you're just eventually just gonna be like, "Pop!" I press the button. You'll be unmuted in a few minutes when it's your time to talk again. Like, I know it's difficult because you want to make sure they come back and participate in future debates. But once you just let them just yell and screech and act like a maniac the whole time, then nothing is gained. Nothing is gained from the conversation.
Georgia want a different member of Congress. You've said that. You made that
absolutely
clear. But the numbers in the primary tell a different story. And to be clear, numbers processed by local election workers in Georgia and reported by the Georgia Secretary of State. She received 30,000 more votes this primary than 2 years ago. If you take your votes, all your Democratic challengers' votes, all of her challengers' votes, she still had 13,000 more votes than everybody else running. What evidence can you provide, other than anecdotal, that the voters in Northwest Georgia want a change?
Josh, it's not an anecdote that not everyone votes in a primary and a midterm. That's not anecdotal. In the last election cycle, more than 75,000 people voted against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, we brought people in from every corner of the district, newly registered people, and I've talked to, it doesn't matter if it's a Republican, independent, or Democrat. I've talked to everybody. And everybody that I talk to, Republicans come up to me every day with tears in their eyes saying, please, get rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She doesn't represent us. She truly doesn't. And I've heard this time and time again, across the board.
He's not, I'm gonna be honest. Marjorie Taylor Greene is such an easy person to run against when it comes to rhetoric. And he's like passing the bar, but it's not that, like, he's not even passing it that well. I don't know. I feel like when she's not screeching, this is like the time to really hit your points in. And I don't know. I feel like he's just like anecdote and anecdote. Like, people tell me I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. He should be constantly like Jewish space lasers, Jewish space lasers, Jewish space lasers. He'd just be hitting that, like hitting on stuff like that, and then shifting back to like policy. Like that should be like the two things he's hitting on. Just the crazy shit she said and done, before pivoting back to the policies you want to implement, and if you were able to get her out and you were able to replace her.
A primary?
It's like trying to run against Roy Moore and not bringing up the pedophile thing. It's like, look, you should be bringing that up like every single opportunity you get. Like, come on, guy.
Seconds.
It's not a general election. I
Ladies
guarantee
and
you
gentlemen, what you're
that
hearing
in the primary,
from Marcus Flowers,
you will see
who's a man
marked
who wears a hat and doesn't own one single head of cattle. He's a liar and all.
Can I just say, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she will, every time chance she gets to open her mouth, she'll open her mouth, even if she has nothing of value to say. That is Marjorie Taylor Greene's political career. Marcus Flowers, like, he's taking time with his words, you know, he's being very polite. He's really not yelling over Taylor Greene too much, but like any time she sees like a slight opportunity to open her mouth, she will. Like she interrupted him earlier. He got to keep talking. She was starting to interrupt him as he was finishing his statement. Now she's going off again. Like, she will fill up any dead air. And I will say, well, that's annoying. It's not bad campaign. It's not bad campaigning to open your mouth up constantly. Because at least people are listening to you, at least people getting to know your name. On the other hand, that can backfire because you might say some stupid shit, which she tends to do, doesn't she?
All he has done is sent emails all over the country to raise money for himself, and he pays himself out of his campaign with your donation dollars. If you're a California Democrat sending money to Marcus Flowers, he's paying himself to run for Congress and pretend that he can beat me in a blood-red Republican district. None of his Democrat defund the police, America Last policies represent our district, and I do.
I'll tell you what, I do get a response to that. Yeah.
Well, we need to really move on because we are so far behind.
God, she's such, oh my God. So she can just interrupt and yell over the moderator, do that. But Marcus, dude, at a certain level, man, either the moderators need to reel in Marjorie or like he needs to start throwing elbows. And just being like, no, I will not concede. But you can't ever debate the moderators. You can't.
Definitely.
That concludes the first round of the debate. The candidates will now ask a question to their opponents. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to ask the question, 60 seconds to respond, and the candidate who asks the question will have 30 seconds for rebuttal. Now, by random selection, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you may ask the first question.
Absolutely. Marcus, you're a father, and you are a representative of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is the party of child abuse. It's the party that represents women, children, and sexualizing them in school, teaching anti-white racism in the terms of CRT education.
Dude, at this point, it's just like, hello, my name is Dylan. You're running against me. Why are you Hitler? Why do you want all the Jews to die? Why are you going to bring about Holocaust 2 Electric Boogaloo? Like, what do you mean? Your party's the party of child abuse, yet you're a father. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I said at the start of this, she was going to bring up child abuse and, like pedophilia and shit like that. She did it before. Like, the first opportunity she could, she brings up pedophilia. Like, the Democrats are the party of child abuse. Like, come on. This is Disney villain nonsense.
And genital mutilation of kids that can't even get a driver's license, can't get a tattoo, and cannot vote. How do you stand there and represent the Democrat Party as a father? And do you believe in genital mutilation of children under the age of 18 and these puberty blockers that have severe health consequences?
Time for your
because
question.
I've introduced a bill to ban it and make it a felony to mutilate children's genitals. Do you stand by that?
Boy, that was a lot. And God bless you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you truly believe that I'm praying for you. You know, I believe in this country. I believe in our democracy. And I believe in standing up for human rights. People come up to me every day and tell me how they feel attacked by you. And yes, I'm talking about children in our LGBTQ plus community. Every day, Congresswoman Greene. Seniors, Latinos, blacks, men and women, every day. This is how she treats the people of Northwest Georgia and the people of America. Attacks, constantly attacking. That's not representative, Greene. You represent them.
I do. I represent and I will always protect children. And that's why I introduced the Protect Children's Innocent Act, to protect children who just may be...
Ironically, I would... Okay, this is probably the most lefty-toyed argument I'll ever make. When stuff like this happens, like, will you protect children? And I'm like, I'd rather a child felt welcome than hang from a rope. And the policies of the right have led to more LGBT people throwing themselves off of bridges in front of trains than anything the left have proposed over the last 30 years. We need to give them the resources so we don't have more dead kids. That's my priority. And I'm not going to put the government in people's health care. Like, it should just be straight up like, you say I support genital mutilation, you support kids hanging themselves instead of accepting them. Like, just, like, at that point, when they're accusing you of being a pedophile, just go hard or go home. Like, because you can't just be like, wow, you think I'm a pedophile? That's mean. Fucking, like, it's just like it's a weak response. Like, if they hit you hard, you gotta hit them hard back. And whatever.
confused about their identity. Kids need to grow up. They do not need to have mastectomies, castration, or take dangerous drugs that have serious health consequences. Marcus Flowers represents the Democrat Party, and the Democrat Party is the party of child abuse. And we have to stand up and stop it right now. To protect children, we protect them from making serious mistakes that will last a lifetime. The same mistakes and regrets that many D-trans people have right now.
Extreme examples and lies is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing, trying to misrepresent me.
That's the time on this. I really need you all to follow up. 30 seconds for a question, 30-second rebuttal. Please don't talk over each other because that really slows us down. All right, Marcus, your question.
Congresswoman Greene, I left my job as a government official to run this race because of January 6th and your part in it. My granddaddy was a sheriff. My uncles were police captains, one of whom who was injured in the line of duty. You know, you spent your time in Congress these last couple of years providing aid and comfort to the January 6th insurrectionists. My question for you is, why do you care more about those criminals in jail than you do about the people of our district?
You want to know something? I care about stopping the two-tier justice system that is happening right now in America. I was a victim of the January 6th riot, and I've said it over and over again.
She was a victim. She was a victim.
I'm completely against what happened on January 6th.
Okay, that wasn't the question. The question is, what about the people afterwards that you're trying to help?
I will not stand by and watch Merrick Garland turn the Department of Justice into a political weapon and the FBI sending it after parents that are addressing their school boards.
That has nothing to do with January 6th.
People that walked in the Capitol and have been held in jail for nearly 2 years, while Antifa and BLM rioters go free and are never held accountable.
At best, she would basically be saying, my rioters should go free because their rioters went free. Rioters' rights. Like, that's the most charitable you could make of that argument. That's the best case scenario for that argument. It doesn't even make sense on face value.
I will always stand up for freedom, defend our freedom of speech, defend our Second Amendment, and defend everyone's ability to live the American dream. That's what I care about, and I truly care about representing those values and those abilities and freedoms for Georgia's 14th district.
So what I'm hearing is criminals over police officers. That's what I heard.
You're the party of defund the police, Marcus. Not
you.
Not
defund the police. That's rich, Congresswoman Greene.
We fund
defund the FBI shirts and hats that you're selling, making money off of.
Yes, the FBI that is targeting
We're going to cut their mic in just a minute because that concludes our second round for those just joining us. This is the debate for the general election between candidates for Congressional District 14. We will now go back to our esteemed panel to ask questions.
He's doing better now. I think he just needed more time to get into it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, she like at like the drop of the hat, she can like spew off like a QAnon rant. Where Marcus is building his way into it. He's building his way into it.
To the candidate of their choice until we run out of time. As a point of moderator privilege, I may also ask a question of the candidates, and I'll determine.
Can I just say is a little bland? I don't know, and I'm just saying. I guess like next to Marjorie Taylor Greene, anyone would look bland, right? Because everybody would look sane, like a bland politician next to that level of person, I will say.
When a rebuttal is appropriate. Josh Rowe, you'll get the first question in this round.
All right, this is to Marjorie Taylor Greene there. You're well known for making controversial statements. Detail your process for vetting and fact-checking your statements that you make in public and post to social media.
Can you tell me what's controversial about defending the freedom of speech, or what's controversial about defending our border, or saying we need to? Can you give me an example?
No, you do this every time we have a debate where I ask a question that's obvious, and you're like, what do you mean? You were kicked off of your committees for saying things were controversial. You've apologized for controversial statements, right? Those types of things.
Like, I think one of the most obvious things would be when she compared the unvaccinated to the Jews during the Holocaust. And she had to go to the Holocaust Museum and make a public apology about saying, like, the unvaccinated, or it was like the unvaccinated was Trump supporters. They're like the victims of the Holocaust, but it's like like you can't, and she apologized for it. So she obviously knows that like there's things she said that even she acknowledges that is too out there.
What is your process for fact checking and vetting the things that you say in public?
The things I say in public are the truth, and that's why they're so offensive to Democrat activists in the media just like you. And you're asking me a blanket question with no example. I stand by the things that I say. I stand by saying that we need to secure our border, that we need
Dude, if I was the moderator at this point, I'd just like, do you stand by the fact that being unvaccinated is like being a Jew in the Holocaust? Like, you should just be like, okay, what a specific example? Just pull out the worst one. If she's gonna start boxing and throwing punches at the moderators should be allowed to throw a punch back.
to protect all of our freedoms and our rights, that we need to stop the America Last Democrat communist policies that are destroying our country. I stand by the words that I say. They're just offensive to Washington, D.C. and the swamp creatures there, because the words that I speak are the same.
Is the Jewish community the swamp creatures? Because it was very offensive to them. What about the Holocaust Museum? It was offensive to them as well.
As Americans back home, the same as people in Georgia's 14th district. And the words that I speak are the truth. And you want to know something, Josh? Sometimes the truth hurts, and Washington deserves to hear it. We're over $31 trillion in debt. Our government has failed the American people, and right now this administration has us on the verge of a nuclear war with Russia, where they care more about funding a war in Ukraine than they care about protecting Americans, helping homeless people on the streets, and securing our border and stopping fentanyl from killing young people in America.
John, it's your turn to ask a question.
I think she supported Ukraine until she found out Zelensky was Jewish.
Thank you very much. Let's bring this back to reality and also bring this back to the 14th Congressional District.
Wait a second. Did he just say, let's bring this back to reality?
Thank you very much. Let's bring this back to reality and also bring this back to the 14th Congressional District.
Oh my God. Dude, they all hate her. They must have all had to do interviews with her up to this point. Must not be. She might be a little bit insufferable. Okay. It seems like the entirety of Georgia's media hates her. Okay.
The I-75 corridor, gentlemen and ladies, right now is red hot with more than $600 million in new developments, 7.6 million square feet of new warehouses and industry planned in Gordon County. What proactive steps, both candidates, would you take to ensure that in Congress we have the infrastructure to safely support both this new growth and the additional safety concerns raised by these trucks and cars?
Who's first?
That's the question.
Can I take that?
Yes, sir.
I'll take
both candidates the question.
Thank you, John. That is a big issue in our district, our infrastructure and supporting new business and growth. You know, I've talked to mayors and city council members all over our district. We are actually losing companies coming into our district because we can't support it, because we don't have the housing, because we don't have the roads, because we don't have the water and the schools to support those districts. Dalton's is a bright star in our community, but there's so many others, and I will work day and night tirelessly to make sure that we have the infrastructure to support all of the companies who want to come into beautiful Northwest Georgia and provide us with great jobs.
Well, somebody in chat just said, wow, is this panel biased much against Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'm sorry, man. When you've got look, all I'm saying is when you're not insane, you might be slightly biased against the insane, okay? When you're not a window licker and you see someone licking a window, you might have some disgust responses to that, right? And I have a very similar disgust response every time Marjorie Taylor Greene opens her mouth. I compliment these moderators for being much nicer than I would have been when she starts throwing punches at them for asking her hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're a controversial figure. How do you vet statements before making those statements? How dare you ask me if I'm controversial? What do you mean? Okay, sure.
We're leading in energy here in Georgia. As a matter of fact, we have the largest solar manufacturing plant in the Western Hemisphere in Dalton. But some of those jobs need to be dispersed throughout the district, and I want to make sure of that. Congresswoman Greene, she's too busy flying around the country. She spent $37,000 in the last quarter alone on flights all over the country. She spends too much time in New York, Bedminster, Florida, Michigan, Arizona, Texas. She's never here in our district.
Time, and you've named her, so you get to respond.
This is a good attack.
Yes, I will respond to that. Marcus has never been a business owner and knows nothing about business. He's never signed the front of a paycheck, so it's hard for him to even comprehend how to do that. He supports the Democrat Party, the party of the Green New Deal, the party of destroying American energy independence, which is the #1 need for manufacturing companies in my district. And by the way, Calhoun is in Gordon County, not Dalton. That's Whitfield County. You don't know anything about our district. I do. I am going to work very hard to lower inflation and also open up many opportunities for businesses growing and developing in Northwest Georgia. And I'm so excited to be a part of that. Now, can I take my question?
That's the time. Well, we're going on, Josh. You can ask a question.
Okay, this is for both of you. Let's start with Marcus Flowers. Our problems in this country are big, and way too often our conversations around these problems are way too small. A lot of criticizing, a lot of finger pointing in this conversation. What do you both offer that can help unify this country? Let's start with Marcus Flowers.
Absolutely. Honor, decency, and integrity. 3 core values that Marjorie Taylor Greene does not have. We've heard a lot from her, and she's good. She is good at spouting off utter nonsense that has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in our district.
I like that. She's good. She's wonderful at being a fucking bit. It's just like, I love when politicians do that. Like, yeah, Trump's amazing. Amazing at being Hitler. Like, those attacks are the best because they're the most childish, aren't they? I mean, it is the most childish. Like, yeah, oh yeah, you're fantastic. Fantastically stinky. It's like, okay, God, yeah, sure, buddy. I'm not like angry about it. I just find it so funny.
I guarantee you, Georgia, if you allow me to be your next congressman, I will work day and night for you. Constituent services, something that you're not getting right now. Our mayors, our city council members, they'll have a seat at the table in D.C. Their needs will be met. Right now, I can tell you, I've talked to a lot of them. They haven't heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
May I have a rebuttal?
Yes, you may. And then your question, and I will let you go back to answer the infrastructure question as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have no right to attack the hardworking people in my constituent services. They do a phenomenal job, and you know nothing about their hard work because they have served the constituents in Northwest Georgia over and over. So I will not have you attack them. They love their jobs. They love serving and helping people, and that is wrong, and you owe them an apology. You owe them an apology, my constituent service. Can
I just say, somebody who constantly talks about cancel culture and like the weak left and they're spineless, she's constantly playing the victim. You cannot slander me. You're a liar. You cannot slander me. I will not allow it. You will not apologize. Just like constantly. It's fucking Jesus. Like, come on. I don't see Marcus Flowers up here apologize for comparing vaccines to the Holocaust. Like, God, Jesus.
Why don't you list your offices on your website?
This is my rebuttal. Karen.
I'm looking for time for the rebuttal.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's my rebuttal. Do not attack the people that work in our office.
And go on with you can answer the question.
Thank you very much. As a member of Congress that is very much looking forward to Republicans taking back the House in January, I'm excited to talk about the commitment to America. The commitment to America is going to provide an economy that is strong. We are going to provide a nation that is safe. We are going to provide a future that is free, and we are very excited to hold government accountable. That means on oversight and through investigations, and I am very much looking forward to being a part of that and taking my place on.
Can I just say everything she just said? She said strong economy, a future that is free. Like everyone believes in a strong economy. Everyone believes in a future that is free. Everyone believes in oversight and governance. Like everything she just named. Like, what do I believe in? I believe in good things. What did she think Marcus Flowers was going to come in? Oh, I believe in corruption. I believe in no oversight. I believe in a future that is oppressive. Like what? Like you're just saying I'm in favor of good things, not bad things.
Committees. I will work very hard to do 2 things. Number 1, investigate wrongdoing and hold them accountable. Number 2, work hard within my conference and within all of Congress to legislate and produce bills that do the.
I gotta say, I always have this deep down desire of just letting Marjorie Taylor Greene have her investigation. Just letting her have it. Just watching as she investigates everything and finds nothing. I'll tell you, man, it's gonna be like 2020 where they're like saying they found the big piece of evidence and like nothing like comes out of it. Just trying to watch her actually manage something and not just scream on a rooftop would be fantastic.
these great things for a Republican commitment to America.
Can you give me a quick answer for the infrastructure question?
Infrastructure question. Yes, I'm in the construction company. So infrastructure is something I understand, and being a business owner for over 20 years, that's something I know how to do. What we're going to do for infrastructure is make sure America is energy independent, support fossil fuels, stop funding failing green energies. Wind only supplies 9% of electricity, and then solar is less than 3%, but fossil fuels are over 60%, and nuclear is nearly 20%. It's extremely important. What we also have to do is we have to fund actual infrastructure. Biden's infrastructure bill was actually about the Green New Deal and not about roads and bridges.
All right, we are going to move on now to closing statements because we have used up a lot of our
He really fucked my boy Marcus Flowers on speaking time. Just saying, he should have been able to talk there.
time. That's all the time we have for the questions. Each candidate now will have 60 seconds for that closing statement. And Marcus.
By the way, of course, wind power makes up for only 9%, like a small percentage of energy production, because it's a small percent of our overall energy infrastructure. That's why we expand its presence in our energy infrastructure, make it a bigger percentage.
Flowers, you will get a chance to have the first closing statement here.
Thank you, Ms. Greene. As was suggested earlier, I am running as Marcus Flowers, not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Listen, I'm the son of a teacher, the grandson of a sheriff. I'm a veteran. I'm a father. I'm a member of this community. I've traveled this district for the last 2 years, and I've talked to people from every walk of life in every corner of our district. And what I hear from them is they want a representative who will work for them. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about right and wrong. This is about chaos versus stability. This is about us. I want you to go in starting tomorrow and vote for right or wrong. Georgia, we have to decide what we want in our seat. Do we want a show horse, or do we want a workhorse who's going to get things done for us? God bless you, and thank you.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, you get the final closing statement.
Well, you just heard from my Democrat opponent that usually wears a cowboy hat but doesn't ride a horse and doesn't own any cattle. Fake cowboys, you know, might be an extra on Yellowstone when you get done with this career.
That's a good question.
Northwest Georgia, Georgia's 14th district, I want to thank you first and foremost for voting for me and putting your trust in me to represent you in Washington. And no matter how many people lie about me, like my Democrat opponent, people in the media, or anybody on the internet, I want you to know that I will stand up to these attacks and never change how I vote and how I legislate. You elected me to go to Washington to fight for your conservative traditional values, to bring fiscal responsibility back to Washington, which I know how to do because I'm a successful business owner, and also to protect your kids. That's my #1 priority because I'm a mom of 3 kids. So I want to ask you again for your vote. Early voting starts tomorrow. Election Day is November 8th. Make sure you bring your friends and your family. Go out and vote for me, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it'd be an honor of my lifetime to go back in January and represent you again. Thank you very much.
And that concludes our debate. We'd like to remind voters that, as both candidates said, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, and early voting begins October 17th. Our thanks to the candidates and to our esteemed panel of journalists. We'd also like to thank the Atlanta Press Club.
Dude, she's never gonna do anything in Congress. No, she doesn't scare me too much. She only scares me rhetoric-wise, because the rhetoric she highlights end up getting picked up by the worst people in this country and spread around. But like actual power-wise, she doesn't ever do anything. So it's not like I'm scared of her or anything. She hasn't done anything yet, and she probably won't do anything when she wins again. She won't do anything when she wins another term after that. Is always she's just a podcaster. She just uses her position in Congress to podcast. That's all she does. So like the most damage she can do is rhetorically. Like she said, oh, these trans, she's not gonna do anything about trans people because she literally can't. Okay, she proposed a bill, isn't gonna get passed, so I'm not really that worried about it, I guess.